Good morning. Well, in the past few days, we have seen US Navy suffering four accidents. The latest one, USS John S. McCain. It collided with an oil tanker near Singapore, and more than 10 soldiers lost their lives. Now, these accidents have unfortunately taken place in Strait of Malacca. Strait of Malacca is a crowded 1.7-mile wide waterway which connects Indian Ocean with South China Sea. And South China Sea has been a bone of contention and is a bone of contention between China on the one side, Philippines, South Korea, Malaysia, and Japan on the other. And this small waterway, congested, accounts for 25% of the global shipping. Now, can you imagine that a Navy destroyer passing through this would not have a full navigation team with full lookouts on everything and extra people on the radar? That's simply not possible. And that has given rise to a suspicion that these accidents are really not accidents. They are an example of cyber attack. They are more than just human error, because there would have been a lot of humans there to have checks and balances. And apart from the loss of the destroyers, in the major arm of US Navy, the 7th Fleet is the same infamous fleet that President Nixon had sent to India with a threat to bombard India in case India does not stop interfering in Bangladesh independence. So the Chief of Naval Staff, when asked about it, he said, "I'm not sure, but there's no indication now. But the review would consider the possibility that it is a cyber attack." Now, when Admiral John Richardson does not rule out, the suspicion of the cyber attack grows still further. It was on January 31st. A guided missile cruiser, USS Antietam, ran against the coast of Japan. On May 9, another cruiser, USS Lake Chamberlain, was hit by a South Korean fishing vessel. And then June 17, a destroyer, USS Fitzgerald, which cost $1.1 billion, and it was bristling with electronics, collided with a container ship, killing 10 soldiers. The commanding officer was removed, but that didn't save. Then we had John S. McCain accident and the loss of 10 lives. Why is it happening? But then, people have forgotten, and I'm amazed that the US Navy has not talked about it. On June 22nd, someone manipulated GPS system in the eastern part of the Black Sea, and 20 ships were left stranded. They didn't know where to go. Because you are dependent on GPS, when the GPS systems are manipulated, and that was near Russia. The shipboard equipment, which was working properly, reported the location of the vessels 20 miles inland near an airport. And now imagine 20 ships left stranded because the GPS is manipulated. This was the first indication of cyber warfare. And they call it GPS spoofing, misinformation. But much more than jamming. It's not just jamming. When spoofing is there, it interferes with the location, Even as the computer screen offers normal readouts, everything looks normal, but nothing is normal. So, according to the commander of one of the ships over there, he was clear that it was a signal from Russian mainland. There was a time when to spoof the GPS system, you needed expensive equipment, software coding skills. But now, according to the experts, it can be done by an ordinary person, not very well expert, not a great expert. He can buy things off the shelf and easily procure software from any good electronic store. Now, when I look at this scenario, I'm amazed. Imagine English Channel, where the crowd is much more than in the Strait of Malacca. Malacca has 25%. But in English Channel, is the highly trafficked shipping lane in the world, even in the bad weather. And at one time, hundreds of ships are going and coming. Hundreds. Suppose the spoofing is done there, it would be mayhem. It would be a disaster. It would be a calamity. And any good terrorist, good at computer skill, and you cannot deny that ISIS has competent computer geeks in its ranks. If this thought comes to their mind, they can set up their shop either in England or in Calais or in Dover, and then the hundreds of ships would create such a nightmare that imagination boggles. The United States military uses encrypted signals for geolocation of vessels. It doesn't use a commercial GPS. And in this US McCain incident, they have gone through and researched, and they have found that there was no faulty satellite communication. So if the faulty satellite communication is not there, according to Admiral Humphrey, then the natural corollary is that it was spoofing, somebody misdirected GPS, and the disaster followed. Now, what happened after June 27? Remember, 27 there was a global attack on the computers. Thousands of the computers, hundreds of thousands of computers were hit. And at that time, the global shipping was also affected. Unfortunately, news media did not think it proper to inform the public. They'll inform if Trump sneezes. They'll say he's intentionally doing it since he's a racist. But this major thing they did not report, that the global shipping had also been affected badly. The effect was so much that the shipping giant, AP Moller-Maersk, was reduced to manual tracking of a cargo among the attack. And do you know how much loss they had in one day? $300 million loss was there. More global trade occurs on the high seas. We know that. And that's why when I was talking about OBOR and the Indian-Japanese initiative of AAO, I mentioned it's much better because it's much quicker. And the ships are getting larger and larger. Are you aware that the largest container ship can carry more than 21,000 of 20 containers? So 20 containers containing 20, and 21,000 of these containers can be in one ship. Now, computer-operated ships are on the near-term horizon. We had one first crewless ship. There was no manpower. It was electric power ship, and it had a capacity of 150 cargo containers. This is going to start its journey in southern Norway next year. You can imagine if the electronics in this ship is hacked and the ship is misdirected, it cannot have one, but multiple accidents. Multiple. You know what happens mostly? The ships have a GPS, but they also avoid collision through another software. This is a global protocol, and they call it AIS, Automatic Identification System. Now, AIS uses beacons abroad, transmit ships, and they keep on transmitting the vessel name, the cargo, the course, the direction, speed, and readouts that display other ships in the vicinity. So you are transmitting your information, all other ships are transmitting their information, and you are aware who is nearby, what course is the other guy taking, so that you can avoid collision. So in these cases of Navy, where the 4 destroyers were destroyed themselves, what happened to AIS systems? Nobody has come out with that. Evidently, not only was there spoofing of the GPS, but even the computers controlling AIS were hacked. You can have an AIS beacon out and claim just whatever you like. And do you know, AIS can be manipulated to let a phantom ship appear on the horizon. There is no ship, but your AIS will give you information that there is a ship, and you see it on your screen. But actually it's not there. So you turn it and you ram it to another ship. If they make one disappear, they'll make the other appear. You think that the real one is you are seeing, but the real one is on the other side where you will have an accident. And then it's not only the carrier ships that rely on GPS and AIS beacons. Passenger ships and cruises also carry this. Imagine you're going on a cruise to enjoy your vacations, and then spoofing takes place, and the tragedies of the Titanic level take place. What a waste of the human life. Now, there are many other factors, I'm not saying it. But the more we are going towards computerization, the more possibility of the cyber attacks is there. And in case these 4 accidents are an indication of what happens, then you can be sure that the passengers and the cargo, the shipping companies and the defense services are in for a long haul of destruction, loss, damages, loss of property, loss of financial loss, and most importantly, loss of human life. Now, coming to those 4 accidents, which were in Strait of Malacca, evidently the signals emanated from the mainland of China, or possibly Macau. As in the Black Sea, as per the Pentagon reports, the signals had emanated from mainland Russia. Those people caused just simple accidents. I'm more worried about ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, getting the capability to spoof the GPS system and not only bring the international trade and shipping to a complete, but to cause such a tragedy of unimaginable loss both of money and of human life. Is there a precaution? I would like the computer experts, the geeks, to consider the possibility of making such software that is impenetrable to the spoofers, that cannot be manipulated. Or the alternative is rely on the old systems, because we cannot afford antisocial animals to play ducks and drakes with a civilized society. But this is an issue. This is a problem that needs immediate attention. Any delay can be harmful. And the sooner the various governments act on this, the better it would be. Thank you.